Hello. Today, my group mates and I will be discussing the use of steroids and hormones on food animals. In this presentation, we will be arguing against using hormones and steroids on the livestock we eat. My name is Justine Fuentes, and my fellow presenters are Celeste Charvoy and Catherine Hirschkorn, and our group number is number 2. To argue against the use of hormones and steroids in food animals, we must first understand what this means. When people talk about using a hormone or steroid on food animals, what they are doing is placing an implant in the ear of the animal. This implant houses the hormone or steroid they wish to inject the animal with. What happens after the animal is given this implant is they will grow up faster or produce more of a desired product. In the case of a steer or male cow, when he is given a steroid shot or implant, the male will mature faster, meaning he will grow in size and shape at an accelerated rate and will have a leaner figure with rounded legs which house high-quality meat due to bulking up on the steroid. In the instance of a female animal, especially those who have currently given birth and are lactating, they will produce more milk and they will have a longer lactation period. With the growing use of steroids and hormones in food animals, there needed to be a system in place to protect both people and animals from being abused via added hormones and steroids. This gave birth to the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA for short. The FDA oversees the use of drugs being used on animals and creates laws to protect both the animals and the public from harm.
Here are some different types of steroids and hormones that are used for animals. Endogenous and synthetic. Different types of steroids that are used in food animals include endogenous and synthetic steroids. Endogenous steroids are estradiol, testosterone, and progesterone. These are natural occurring hormones. Steroid implant placement. These steroid implants are placed under the animal's ears. These implants, or so-called pellets, are placed under the skin on the backside of the ear. These pellets dissolve throughout the animal's body, and these implants do not require removal. Synthetic non-steroidal estrogens. Synthetic non-steroidal estrogens, such as stillborn estrogens, have been banned for the use of anabolic agents because of the food safety concerns people have had. Estradiol, testosterone, and progesterone. Estradiol is inserted in animals who have urinary incontinence. Testosterone is inserted in animals who need more bone density and muscle mass. Progesterone is used to slow the release of estradiol from the compressed pellet implants, as well as it regulates the reproduction of pregnancy. Estrogens, progesterone, and androgens are naturally occurring and synthetic hormones.
Now, we will discuss the brief history of hormones or steroids being used in food animals. The first experimental implant was created in 1947. One issue with the hormone implant was, from the start, there was no way to determine the safest dosage of the hormone to use on each livestock species. Many animals suffered from engorged limbs as a result of scientists experimenting with the amount of dosages that could be given to an animal before there were any side effects. This is one example of the abuse animals had to face, all to test a synthetic chemical that we did not yet know if it was safe for human consumption. The issue of using hormones and steroids in our food animals was the topic of conflict between the U.S. and the European Union, UE for short. UE was skeptical and disapproved of adding extra steroids and hormones to the bodies of cows that would grow to provide us with meat or milk. They feared the end result and what would happen to people if they consumed contaminated meat like this. In the 1950s, the European Union went so far as to ban the use of hormones and steroids in food animals in their borders. But that is not all. The Union refused to import meat from the U.S. if it had extra hormones or steroids added. The argument for the European Union to lift its ban and purchase U.S. meat lasted for several years. But the United States had enough. In retaliation to the ban, we raised the price of Europe's trade tariffs. This caused tensions to rise between the two countries that still exist today.
Sociological importance of steroids and hormones. In an article written by Rui F. Oliveira, he states that steroids play a key role in hormonal modulation of social plasticity. Recent studies show that steroids can act as fast as possible when it comes to regulating stress responses. They are often used to regulate the behavior of an animal. This could be beneficial in a lot of livestock animals, such as goats and pigs, especially if they're being transported from one place to another, since it is when they undergo through the most stress. I personally used to show goats in high school, and when we would transport the goats from school barn to the fairgrounds, a lot of our goats would lose weight from the stress as well as become dehydrated, which made it harder for us to have them meet weight, as well as keeping them hydrated and healthy for the first few days of fair. Sometimes, because of stress, they would refuse to eat, but once they were set up, they were good, but it did take a bit for them to properly accommodate to the environment. Current events relating to hormones and steroids. According to an article by The Guardian, Australian beef is pumped with growth hormones. People are concerned, especially in the UK, where most Australian beef is imported to. In the UK, it is banned to use hormones in any livestock animal. Australian farmers rely economically on growth hormones, so banning hormones in Australia will have a big impact on both the farmers' economy and the economy of the country as a whole. 40% of cattle in Australia is currently treated with growth hormones to boost weight gain. They have noticed that female animals seem to grow faster when they are mostly given male hormones, and vice versa. Male animals seem to grow faster when given female hormones. There is still research being done today to discover why that happens. Though it does sound like a lot of hormones, the residue left on meat is 1,000 times lower, making the meat completely safe to eat. The residue limits are set by the Australia Pesticides and Veterinary Medicines Authority, or APVMA. David Hopkins states, "The ban on such meat in the EU and UK is not based on science, but perceptions and marketing," meaning that due to public demand, meat with added hormones and steroids will not sell in the EU and UK due to its negative connotation. The cultural importance of steroids and hormones. People believe that some chronic diseases are caused by hormones and steroids used in livestock. Though there is no concrete evidence of this, it is said that infants are most vulnerable to these diseases. The FDA has only approved the use of hormones and steroids for only cattle and sheep that have the sole purpose of meat production. Any other livestock animal, including dairy cattle, are prohibited the use of hormones and steroids. The reason why hormones and steroids are permitted in beef cattle and lamb is because it helps the feed they eat be more efficient so that they grow better and overall helps the farmer produce more beef or lamb with less money. The way farmers administer steroid hormone drugs are through pellets or implants that go underneath the skin of the animal. These implants will dissolve under the skin and do not need a removal. These implants are also placed behind the ear of the animal since it is the easiest spot to be placed efficiently and safely for the animal. This practice is utilized in both lamb and cattle used for meat production.
Here is a video related to our topic. Dr. Susan E. Watkins speaks on the unfound rumors of how our food is supposedly produced with steroids and hormones. Nutritious feed provides good protein for the bird's development. Therefore, there is no need for steroids and hormones for these animals. Dr. Susan E. Watkins also states that hormones for poultry are simply non-effective. If we wanted hormones to be strongly effective in poultry, we would have to inject them every single day.
The response should be there is no logical reason or incentive to even justify hormone use. The explanations are based in science, economics, and the law.
Given the knowledge from our research, as a group, we are against the use of steroids and hormones in food animals. We realize the deep and negative effects steroids and hormones have on an animal's body, and the kind of health it may result in for the animal. We believe that animals should not use steroids and hormones because of the toll it could take on the animal's body. Steroids and hormones in food animals can lead to poor growth development as well as reproduction development. Steroids and hormones can also cause poor physical health on the animal. Giving an animal steroids can cause the animal to create unnatural meat on the body, which may be unsafe for consumers to digest. Steroids in animals can result in animals having different characteristics, such as anger, which can lead to harming a human or another animal. We also believe that putting an animal on steroids or hormones can worsen an animal's infection if they already had infections. Therefore, we are against the use of steroids and hormones in food animals. Celeste and I both concur with Catherine. There is no need to add hormones or steroids in food animals to get the desired look or product that you want. As past members of the FFA community and experienced livestock showmen, we have seen firsthand that one does not need to inject an animal with a steroid or hormone to produce a high-quality product. There's no need to put the animal through extreme pain due to your inability to measure the right dosage or keep an eye on the animal efficiently to produce a sound and healthy product for the consumer.
My name is Liz Chargoy, and I wanted to add on to what Catherine said on why we are against the use of hormones and steroids in animals. I believe that because it is only FDA approved to use steroids and hormones on cattle and sheep used for the sole purpose of meat production, and even then being approved by the FDA, there is still a limit on how much residue can be left over on said meat. Because of this, I don't think that it is completely safe for an animal to be given steroids and hormones for humans to eat, since it can accidentally be given too much steroids or not undergo the right procedures for whatever reason. And that is why we are against the use of hormones and steroids in livestock animals.
And with that, we have reached the end of our presentation, arguing against the use of steroids and hormones in food animals. The last slide we have for you to see is our reference and resources, also known as the Works Cited page, where we give credit to all the authors, articles, and journals we used to create this presentation for you today. I know we threw a lot of information at you today, but if you are ever interested in diving deeper into this discussion or topic, then please, you are welcome to read one of the resources below. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Have a great day,